Welcome back to another week, yet another week of Rocktoberfest, because we're officially there. And 21st Century Rocker Mom podcast, of course, with me, your host, Tanya Candler. We're back for another week together. I told you I'd be back. I've been sick as fuck, but I'm back. Now the pumpkin spice season is officially upon us. I can come. Basic bitch season is out. You might want to pull on a hoodie or a sweater and just cuddle up by the fire, grab something warm, a beverage. There's something a little bit spicy in here. It's not pumpkin spicy, but it's like chai tea. I have that. Grab a warm beverage. Throw on something, though, that will chill your bones. If everything else is getting warmed up, why don't you get chilled off, like with your bones, get freaked out a little bit, and go, it's creepy season. People like to get freaked out around this season, in addition to the plethora of things I'll be talking about on the show today and, tonight and wherever you are. I don't know what time it is where you are or where I am. It's the morning, and I'm going to talk to you about a few things, and a few places that I've been, and a few things that I've experienced, and beliefs, and what I don't believe in, and we're going to get freaked out together, because like I say, the funnest thing to do is to get uncomfortable always. So pull up a beverage and get ready to chill your bones. Usually, it's Thanksgiving weekend for me here in Canada, and usually I'd be doing turkey talk with my dad. I make turkey, obviously, so for my kids. For me and Rob, because we're like lettuce heads, so I just make a tofurkey. But for the kids, I make turkey, so I'd be usually doing turkey talk with my dad. It was the first Thanksgiving without him, so this is tough. Those firsts are hard. This, could really be anything, when you think about scary things, and you got to think about, it could be really anything to you. What are you scared of? What freaks you out? I've talked about this on episodes before, and there's a few things that freak people out, like cemeteries, for instance. I love them. I love cemeteries. I can't get enough of cemeteries. We'll get back to that in a little while about cemeteries, because I got a true story. I've been putting up some pictures in my stories about cemeteries and stuff, and talking about some of my favorite cemeteries that I like to visit, and we'll talk about cemeteries lately. And talk about what cemeteries are my favorite. We'll talk about cemeteries. I recently started watching a show called We Bought a Funeral Home. It's about this family. There's 4 of them. They moved here 10 years ago from the UK, and they were living in Toronto, and they kind of sold everything up in Toronto, and they moved to a house in Dresden that they bought that actually used to be a funeral home. It was kind of turn of the century, needed a lot of renovation, so they had to sink a lot of money and time into it. And the show's actually really interesting. It's just like super goth and super fun, and you can tell that they're a fun family and they have a good time together. The show, if you see it, it's on Discovery Plus. You can check it out, and it's quite interesting, especially if you're into like renos, but like also into goth stuff. It's fun, and they're a fun family. They just seem like they have a hoot together. This place has 38 rooms. It has like 3 stories. There's 10 staircases. It's in Dresden, Ontario, which is like literally by Chatham, which is down the street from me. It's not a long drive, so maybe we'll go and see this Addams family house. Maybe we'll take a kids for the drive there just to see how scary it really is. We'll see. Anyways, I guess it had servant entrances, an embalming or a prep room. It had a coffin lift. Like it's like an elevator for when you have a casket with human remains in it, because it's really heavy to lift up by yourself. So you need a little bit of an elevator. So that's what it's for. And then, so they bought this place. They didn't really want to make it a funeral home because no one is versed in funeral home stuff. So they want to turn it into a residence. So it's costing them a lot of money to renovate, and they're doing a cool job. It's really cool to actually see what they're turning it into. So I actually kind of want to go there and see what happened. But anyways, that's a story for another time. But then I started reading, and then I saw a documentary about some haunted objects and some of the most haunted objects in the world. And do you believe in haunted objects? Do you believe that an object can hold so much power? It can haunt you, put a curse on you. It can do things to you, things to make things happen. Well, in the case of Robert the Doll, I don't know if you've heard this one. Maybe if you live in the state of Florida, maybe if you live close to Key West, you've heard this one. Because Robert the Doll has haunted Key West in Florida for over 100 years. Now, he was first kind of considered the most haunted doll in the world. He has haunted thousands and thousands of people with his curse. His current home is in Key West, Florida at Fort East Martello Museum. And like I say, he is like a conduit or like a malevolent spirit that's in a doll. In 1905, Robert Eugene Otto, that's a 5-year-old little boy, received this doll on his 5th birthday as a birthday present. He got this doll from his mom and his dad who'd been traveling abroad to Germany and stuff like that. And he even gave it his name and his clothes. And he gave himself his middle name, Gene, and called the doll Robert the doll. I'm just like, that's kind of like a big no-no. And so he was invented by the Stief company in Germany, like I say, and they invented the teddy bear originally in 1902. And so 1904 rolls around and they invent Robert the doll, who they had rented. They made small enough to sell in stores. He was like a department store, like display doll. So he was the same size as like a regular child. So when they brought this doll home to Robert, their son, he insisted on calling it Robert and gave it his clothes and his name. Big mistake, kid. Big mistake. What the fuck are you doing and giving it your name? It's crazy. So he, as soon as he got the doll, the little boy kind of just lost interest in all his friends, all the other things he was doing. He lost friends in all his other toys, all his interests, everything he was obsessed with. He soon became consumed by this doll. And like I said, he gave it his name. That's your first mistake, kid. But now, there are hundreds and thousands of stories of people being hurt by Robert the doll over the years now that he lives at the museum, because people haven't followed his rules. He has some simple rules for you to follow. 1, you always must say hello to Robert the doll in his glass case where he resides now. 2, you gotta be polite to him. You gotta talk nicely, not be rude and stuff like that, and use your manners. Number 3, ask permission to take a picture with him, or take a picture. If you're going to take a picture of him, ask his permission. Generally speaking, don't touch the glass. Come on, that's just like a respectful thing. Don't do it. Always say goodbye to Robert. You know what I mean? And just be nice. You got to play by his rules, because this is the history of the doll. Like people have made some big mistakes and paid some huge prices, apparently by. Their lives have been ruined by this doll, and he receives thousands of apology letters like a week from people that have kind of screwed up when they've gone to see him at the museum and not followed his rules. And then digging deeper, like I get into this, and I hire a psychic medium, and she figures out there was a death in the house, and there was a nanny who had lost a child in the house. But that is not the most twisted part of it. The twisted part of it is the nanny was, apparently the child was fathered by Robert Eugene Gene, Robert the doll, original Robert's father, who was, I guess, having his way with the nanny. And the child was, they couldn't tell. She passed away in the house, and they kept it a secret. It was his love child. It was their love child. But deeper in the stories, the servant was really regretful, and she was so vengeful about the death of her child in the house that she cast a spell, and she was into voodoo and hoodoo and some kind of Santeria. And she cast a spell, kind of like, if I can't have my family, you can't either. So apparently the spirit and the conduit and whatever that portal was, kind of just, and the evilness kind of went into that doll. And who was ever, I guess, connected to that doll got almost entranced by that doll, and bad things started happening. And some people think that a spirit's attached to the doll, not that the doll is living, but that the spirit is angry, and the spirit that's attached to the doll is angry, and everyone that gets to know is angry. And so anyways, it causes all kinds of problems for Gene growing up. It's always Robert did it, Robert the doll did it. His mom loses her freaking marbles. Her name's Minnie, and she just she throws it in a closet and locks it away in a trunk. She had it. Anyways, this movie, and well, it's not even a movie yet. I guess it is a movie, but it takes the movie The Boy. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Boy, where that girl goes to babysit the doll and he has a bunch of rules. This takes us to a whole other level. It's something else. It's next level craziness. Anyway, Gene, the man, grows up and he has to leave the doll, and he goes to the service. He moves to Paris. It's the 1920s. Ernest Hemingway's there. Everything's nice. He meets a lovely lady, an artist named Anne. She's a singer. She sings a lot. She's very talented. She's very beautiful. He meets her in the 1930s. They get married in 1930, and they set out to become artists. And Anne, actually, by the 1940s, was the breadwinner of the house. She was getting regular gigs at the Rainbow Room, and she was singing, and she was getting packed houses. She was doing great. And Gene was kind of struggling as an artist. But then you fast forward to 1945, and Gene's mom, Minnie, passes away and leaves the house to Gene and Anne. And leaves her career at the Rainbow Room because she has to move. And they go and they took over this house. And now, like, Gene was eccentric, I would say. And that's not even one word to kind of describe him. But his wife always knew he was eccentric, but she just didn't know how eccentric. So when they took over the house, I guess it's his childhood home. And let's see how eccentric he can be. She finds Robert, the doll, and Gene introduces his wife, Anne. It says, Anne, this is Robert the doll. I had him all growing up. He's like, say hello to her. So I'll say hello to the doll and say hello, Robert. And she's kind of, you know, her husband's talking to a doll. I'm guessing she's like raising an eyebrow by this point. It's kind of weird. But whatever. His art career takes off and, you know, she quits as a headliner at the Rainbow Room. Eventually, she gets pissed off about him talking about this fucking doll 24/7 and she locks this motherfucker in a trunk. She locks him in a trunk. 1965, Gene goes like a little bit crazy because he gets Parkinson's disease. And in 1974, after he's like long and gone and dead, the wife sells the home to another homeowner. And Gene dies without the doll at his side. The doll's been locked in a trunk this whole time, and another homeowner buys it in the 70s, 1974, and they happen to have a daughter. And she, of course, finds the key to the attic, like, you know, someone on Beetlejuice, and goes up there and finds this doll in a trunk. What are you doing here? And, of course, she gets obsessed with the doll, absolutely obsessed with it. And the husband and the wife kind of, you know, don't realize that this doll's a portal. Bad things happen. The dad shits on the doll, is pissed off about it. He dies in a car in their driveway of carbon monoxide poisoning, self-inflicted, and just inhales it in his car. The wife's left, you know, kind of struggling. Things are bad. Everything that's attached to this doll that you read, Robert the doll, is bad. Don't go to Key West in Florida and see this fucking thing if you're not gonna if you're gonna fuck around and not play by the rules. Just don't. So like every family that moves in and moves like around consequently gets haunted by him. There's this family gave him to the museum and left him where he should be with people who know how to take care of him and respect him and give him the rules that he deserves. You know, I haven't seen any creepy, like, bearded guys, too many, like, I mean, other than, like, Charles Manson and the regular stuff, but, like, I saw some creepy stuff about secret societies. I saw some creepy Amish stuff about these Amish murders, about these guys that, because they don't believe in modern medicine and stuff like that, they go nuts and, like, murder their wives, and, like, one guy, oh my God, if you want to go on Discovery Channel and watch yourself some stuff about creepy Amish people, no. Oh my God. I watched the first episode. It was like Amish murders. It was too much that I could handle it. Like I couldn't watch it. I was like, there was a point where I knew I was going to have to turn it off. It got a little graphic because usually I don't see any bad guys with like beards and stuff like that. They're not really bad. But these Amish guys were terrible. Terrible. But it made me think about creepy societies like the Skulls and like George Bush and George W. Bush. And all those societies have been around for like a long time. And how those are creepy, you know what I mean? And all the things you have to do. And all the places you have to meet and the things. Because we were talking about cults and scary things. And those are kind of cults too, you know what I mean? Those secret societies. Especially the ones that have lots of money. The ones that are pushing fucking cash towards it. The ones that got the most money are doing the best. But you know, maybe they're not so secret. Maybe we know your maybe we know your secrets. Maybe these social elites. I think, you know, we should really just eat the social elites because it's bullshit. I think it's kind of funny that there are social elites in this world, like in general, that there is a social elitist group that, you know, makes money during a pandemic while other people are getting fucked over. I think it's weird. But back onto weird stuff. We're going to be talking about some weird stuff because I thought it's the holiday season. And since I'm talking about scary stuff, I don't want to talk about too much scary stuff, but I wanted to talk about something good because I was talking about Santa Sleighs I watched the other night. And I want to talk about beard ASMR. What is it? I want to talk about beard porn. It's not what you think. I want to talk about beard porn. We're going to talk about that soon. I've got some ASMR that left me crying for the follicle as it lost its hair when there was some shaving going on. And it's No Shave November. So we're going to talk about that. Like, so why not launch a company in No Shave November? We'll see. We'll talk about that soon. But we're going to get to, like I told you, I'm going to get to, because it's October, I'm going to get to my dark obsession, one of my darkest obsessions. One of my darkest obsessions, if you follow me on the gram, because I'm a fucking slave to the gram, you know I'm a slave to the gram whenever I can go there. I love cemeteries, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm always like, let's go walk in the cemetery, because it's calming, there's no one there, no one fucking bothers you, there's deer there, coronavirus deer, it's so funny, but like, it's, some of my favorite cemeteries are actually in this city, but like really outside of this city, I've been to so many cemeteries, they would make your head spin. But my favorite cemetery is probably Bonaventure Cemetery in Savannah, Georgia, because there's a lot of history there. And because there's so much history with the different monuments and the different things that are in Bonaventure Cemetery. And it was like a slave plantation. And so it's very haunted. The ground's very vibrational there. Since I'm kind of a little bit empathic and I can feel the ground kind of moving, it's not a good place for me to be. Like, I remember we had our kids there when they were like so small. And like my son thought like where all the American flags were. He's like, that's where all the presidents are buried. I'm like, no, they're not. But it was a good thing. But like, I love Bonaventure Cemetery. It's in Savannah, Georgia. If you never go there, it's where little Gracie Watson is. I told you, I would tell you the story of little Gracie Watson. I told you that in my stories. And little Gracie Watson was kind of like the Eloise of the Plaza, like of the South. Like Eloise of the Plaza was this little girl who had the run of a hotel in New York City. And I would say that little Gracie Watson was the same. And she basically made a beautiful, time for as long as she was alive for the people that frequented a hotel that her dad managed in a square. It's called the Pulaski Hotel, and it was in Johnson Square in Savannah, Georgia. And she was kind of like the Eloise of the Plaza. She entertained the guests, and she really delighted them, and she really sung and danced and had a great time for them. But sadly, 2 days before Easter, she passed away in 1889 at only 6 years old from pneumonia. Because like back then, there wasn't a lot they could do. So her parents were like absolutely devastated and were grieving for her. So they got a sculptor at the time whose name was John Waltz. And John Waltz sculpted her in marble. And she's been sculpted and cast many times and put in Bonaventure's cemetery. Now she's surrounded by wrought iron. I put up a picture that I took of a little Gracie because I've been to Bonaventure Cemetery a few times. Look out for snakes. I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been there in like magnolia season and when everything's blooming and when everything's really pretty. It's beautiful down there, but it's one of those haunted cemeteries I can say in the world. And it's got a lot of crypts and old things. It's very old. And some of the cemeteries in Savannah are very old. And that's one of my darkest obsessions. I love cemeteries. Gracie Watson, like I say, people take toys to her grave site. They take little trinkets and things that they think that the ghost of little Gracie, because a lot of people see her ghost. It's been reported in the square where the hotel was that her dad managed. They say they see a little girl playing there. I'm not above it. Like, I believe in that stuff. I believe in ghosts. And that scares the shit out of me. Like, I mean, she died so young. And now, like I say, it's scary. There also in Bonaventure Cemetery used to live the statue of the Bird Girl. I don't know if you've seen the Bird Girl in the Midnight, the Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. It's on the cover, and it's been cast many times since it's been made. But it was cast in about 1936. It was first sculpted, and it's been casted 6 times. It ended up now it's living in a good place. It's living in Georgia, and Clint Eastwood paid to have it shipped out of the cemetery because it had been vandalized so many times in Bonaventure Meadows Cemetery and Bonaventure Cemetery in general that it had to go somewhere else. So Clint Eastwood paid to protect it and put it in the city of like Savannah, Georgia, into an art museum to make sure it's always protected. But this Bird Girl is amazing. If you can read the story on that, it's cool. Something I went to see in Savannah, Georgia that I didn't see, like I say, in the cemetery, like it's provided by Clint Eastwood to make sure she's safe. But she was at like a witch shop that we went to. I went to this witch shop and it was a crazy one, and you weren't allowed to take pictures or anything like that. So I didn't, because I didn't want to get cursed or anything, you know. Ouija boards. I asked you guys about fucking Ouija boards this week on my questions, and I said, are you afraid of Ouija boards, or like, will you use a Ouija board? Do you believe in the power of Ouija boards? And it was like a resounding like yes, and like a resounding yes, I am afraid of Ouija boards, or yes, I respect the power that comes with Ouija boards, because Ouija boards scare the fucking shit out of me. Let me tell you, when I was a kid, we got a Ouija board, and it was like secondhand from like a thrift store. That sounds really fucking like not safe. I'm like, I do not see it as a game. I see it as a fucking portal. Okay. So we brought it up to the cottage, and then I didn't want to like sleep in the cottage as long as the Ouija board was in the cottage, because it was so fucking scary. I didn't want something to pop out of it because like some shit had happened. For me, like the Ouija board, like I say, it was first invented in Ohio as a spirit board in the 1880s, like late 1880s, 1886, I think. And then commercially, Elijah Bond brought it July 1st in 1890 out into the market and brought it to people as a spirit board, as a talking board, as a Ouija board. And people used it as mediums, as a way to communicate with the dead. That's not how people communicate with the dead now. I don't know any mediums right now that use a Ouija board. But some people say that they love Ouija boards and they're not afraid of them because they felt it kind of all their lives. They had that feeling that they're having like communications, and they have had communications with the dead. And people that are on the other side and things of that nature. Some people are like me and they're really fucking afraid of them. Do I believe in mediumship? Yes, absolutely. I believe in mediumship 100%. And do I believe in tarot? Yes, I throw a mean tarot every fucking day. And I mean, with my Buddhism and incense and stuff like that. Ouija and spirit boards to me are not a game. Like I say, the spirit world is something that I think we need to treat with great like kindness and reverence. And we got to be really careful with things like that, because I think we can open a portal to something that we don't fucking know how to fuck around with sometimes. And since it scares the shit out of me, I tread lightly when it comes to Ouija boards, because I don't want to fuck around with that stuff. I'll play Nightmare until the cows come home, but not Ouija boards. No. Put it in the shed at the cottage, because I'm not sleeping with it in the fucking house. You get that shit away from me. It's not going to happen. Like I said earlier, since it's like Halloween time and it's scary, let's lighten that up a little bit with beards and fluffy things and things that are great. And since there aren't too many bearded horror characters, think about it. Michael Myers, clean shaven. Jason, clean shaven. Freddy Krueger, burnt. Like, you know what I mean? Nobody's got a beard. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, Leatherface. No one, it's leather. It's not happening with the beards, you know? So why not talk about something like happy, like Christmas, like jingle beard, jingle all the way. It's time for Beards N Bitchin, because that's what I'm going to bring you in the middle of this fucking episode, is an episode of Beards N Bitchin, because why would I not talk about beards that are fucking bitchin'? And maybe I'm going to talk to you about beards and some new beards that maybe you haven't heard about and maybe you haven't seen yet, because I've got Big Bad Santa, and it's a bearded account that I follow on Instagram. And Big Bad Santa is Albie Mashaney, and he is out of the United States. He's like a strong man. He looks like Santa Claus took just all the muscles and pumped them up. He's just crazy. Santa Claus, the pipes are gonna burst. Call the elves. If you don't follow him, you should follow him at Big Bad Santa on Instagram. You can see him on my Instagram. I follow him. And he's amazing. And I was going to rate his beard because it's gigantic. It reminds me of my dad's beard, to be perfectly honest. It's gigantic. It's white. It's full. It looks really healthy. His Instagram is really positive. I like it because it really shines a positive light on like doing better and always striving to do better. And it's really positive. And he's like a strong man. And he seems like he's come a long way in the last 7 years to like kick some real ass and really shine light on like, you know, bearded content as well as health content, and doing better and wanting to do better and doing better every day. And he seems to love what he's doing and seems to be having a good time doing it. So like I say, like I had to talk about Santa Claus because I mean, I sat on Santa Claus's lap till I was 25 years old. Take that for a bearded problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like I had some bearded stuff going on. I sat on Santa Claus's lap for a long time. But like I say, I love beards. Like for Big Bad Santa, all I gotta say is like the color is perfect of his beard. The shape is perfect. I think he's using the right products in it. It's great. I think the beard is like literally for me is a 10 out of 10. If you're gonna ask me to rate a beard, I'm gonna give it a perfect 10. It looks healthy. It looks moisturized. There's no split ends. It's not all over the goddamn place. There's no terminal length going on. There's trimming going on. There's care going on to the beard. It's great. I love it. I love it. I love it. If you're not following him on Instagram, you better get on that because there's a lot of people following him. So you better just get on that train. Woo woo, because it's leaving for Christmas town. So you better get the hell on that. Tester bottles. I'm going to tell you a story about tester bottles. They're so tiny. They're so cute. They're like 1/2 ounces or whatever. Tester bottles are in. And I'm so excited to send them out to the people who know they're getting them. And I'm just going to put, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now that I am not putting the scent profiles on the tester bottles. I'm putting numbers on them, and you're going to have to fucking figure it out yourself. I'm not releasing the tester bottle scents unless it's one that I've collaborated with you on. And if you have collaborated with you, you know who you are. If I've collaborated with you on one, then you know exactly who you are, and we'll know what the scent is. I'll put the profile on it for you. But if I haven't, you'll know just what it is. Like, you'll have to smell it, and you have to just kind of test it and figure out what it is, and it'll be fun for you. But then, I'll let you know when everything drops, and you'll obviously know what it is, but they'll be numbered. I got these cute little bottles. They're so adorable, and I can't wait to fill them up for you. Like I say, the company launch, and I'm excited for the company launch. Like I say, I was going to do it at the end of November, but I was like, you know what? I don't want to put pumpkin in anything right now because there's pumpkin in everything right now. And like I say, pumpkin's not for everyone, and especially not for me right now. And I think I'm going to launch in November because November is no shave November. November is a lucky month for me. It's going to be a great month for me. I'm excited to launch then instead of, October, because everybody's got Halloween on the brain and candy and stuff and sweet stuff. And, after a stint, and I looked at my logo, I didn't like it anymore. So I redid it, and I did a graphic thing and finished it up, and it looks badass as fuck now, but it took me a little bit to realize that I had to I was like, I want to redo my logo. I don't like it the way it is. So it looks badass as fuck now. I hope you like it. You'll love it. The grooming company stuff is going out to everybody. All my pals and gals and everybody's getting, everybody from all walks of life is getting a little treat, a goodie box from me. And they're going out very soon. As soon as I feel better. I feel like crap this week. I feel like I got hit by a truck, but I'm better. My fever is gone. The thrill is gone. It's, Thanksgiving. What am I thankful for? What can I say? I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for Beards. I'm thankful for you being here with me every fucking week because, every week I'm talking my ass off and every week you're here. So I bought some patents for some beard oil and some different hair oils and different beard conditioners. I bought some different patents for formulas and stuff like that. I finished some courses, like I said, up in TCM and stuff like that. And we got some great stuff coming down the pipe for you with the company. I'm excited. That's why I'm excited to launch in November and have everything ready and fun for you. Because why not do it perfect? Because I have that one of those, A-type crazy anal personalities where I have to do everything absolutely perfect or it's just not right. I can't do it. I can't justify it. Oh, speaking of everything being perfect, bearded ass bands. You know what? As you know, I have not booked guests in a little while, but I'm making a fucking exception because seriously, I have a bearded band that's fucking awesome. I'm sending them some beard oil that we have something majorly in common. And I'm not going to tell you what our major thing in common is. It's not beards. I mean, they have beards and I love beards and I love them and I love their sound. But we have a big 6 degree of separation, me and this band. And I can't wait to have a talk with them and have them have a talk with you about all things in their band. And you check them out because they're fucking amazing. They're badass. And we share, like I say, a very common bond. They'll be on in November for No Shave November, the company launch. Like I say, November. I thought I was sick this week. So I thought I was so hot. And I was like, man, if I'm going through menopause, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. If I grow a beard, I'm fucking keeping it. So I can feel what the product feels like in beard. I know you all talk about what it feels like in beard. Oh my God. Like I say, it's Thanksgiving. What am I thankful for? What are you thankful for? Do you have something that you're thankful for this Thanksgiving weekend? If you're Canadian, if you're American, I don't know what. If you're thankful for something, just let me know. If you're from anywhere, what are you thankful for this week? I'm thankful for astrology. A lot of people have been asking me about sun signs versus moon signs. Obviously, your sun sign is something that, like I was talking about, like my sun sign is Aquarius, and I found out who my famous sun sign like buddies are. You want to hear? You ready? We got Dr. Dre, we got Jennifer Aniston, we got Alicia Keys, we got Justin Timberlake, we got Harry Styles, John Travolta, Rainn Wilson, Neil Diamond, Patton Oswalt, Elijah Wood, Hobbitses. That's who we got. And then my moon is in Gemini. I'm going to teach you what all this means. Okay, you're going to find out about this as I sit here in a freaking like house robe talking to you. Moon in Gemini, we got Jennifer Lawrence, we got J-Law, we got Barack Obama, we got Heidi Klum, we got Jackie Chan, we got Benicio Del Toro, we got 50 Cent, we got Jet Li, we got Jennifer Connelly. You know, you remind me of the Babe. What does it mean? What does all it mean? What does it mean? What does all of this mean? What does it mean to you? Sun signs versus moon signs. I think your sun signs is done, it's done by the day of your birth, and it represents your core kind of person. It's like your birthday, your day of your birth. Like mine is January 24th. And it represents your core personality. It represents your sense of self, basic preferences, kinds of things like that. It represents a romantic compatibility. It remember that it navigates your drive, your ego, your pride, and the way you navigate and get yourself around the world. That is what your sun sign kind of represents and things like that. But I'm an Aquarian, so that's a fixed air sign, and I'm ruled by the planet of Saturn, the return of Saturn. Kaboom! Ha ha! In astrology, we're back. I'm an idealist that's into equality. This is true. Science-minded, yeah, this is good. And sometimes bad. Socially aware, humanitarian. I'm sometimes impartial, sometimes outgoing, unconventional, definitely. Plays by my own rules, always. We can have a tendency to be blinded by science and reason. Always. Blinded by the light of science and reason. That's just me. Finding practical solutions to broad social issues. I love the social broads, but all the social issues. I do find practical solutions because that's what I'm all about. Finding fucking solutions. I want to find a solution to a problem. I want to fix it. Moon sign. The moon sign is the sign of the zodiac where the moon was, exactly where it was and what it was doing, and like how big it was. Was it waxing? Was it waning? When you were born, like the exact moment of your birth. So you got to know your time of birth to know your moon sign. It's the soul of your identity. Your moon sign. It's what's really on the inside. It's your subconscious. It's the subconscious part of yourself that you often keep hidden, you often don't show people, that you often might keep that side of yourself kind of private from people. And it might be a side of your emotional self, a large part of your emotional self that it makes up that you don't talk about very often. Mine is Gemini. So my moon is in Gemini. It's a highly social part of me. Geminis, like people with the moon in Gemini, are highly social creatures who love to find deep connections with people and like to find really deep connections, like have good deep friendships, like on a deep level. Logical, intelligent, but tend to avoid overly emotional topics. Yeah, when I'm in private, yeah, I guess I tend to avoid overly emotional topics. Ones that are gonna make me like lose my mind and stuff like that. I'm not in the mood for that. But we are easily bored. When there's a lack of stimulation, that equals, for people like me, resentment and bottling up emotions. Because don't we all bottle up our emotions? Knowing this, I work hard at it to kind of battle against that and not be that person, because I don't want to be the person that bottles up my emotions. That's not good. What is a rising sign? What is a rising sign? Do you know what a rising sign is? Have you ever found out what your rising sign is? Your rising sign shows the way you project yourself and how others see you and the kind of experiences you need in your life to make your life feel meaningful. I don't know what yours is, but mine is a Taurus rising. Taurus is stubborn. It's a bull, man. By the horns, man. Taurus, stubborn as fuck. Venus rules this planet. It's wise. And ruled by this rising sign coming over my Aquarian sign, over my sun, this Taurus rising. I prefer the slow and steady approach to life. Obviously, I do. I'm a big hippie. Practical. Always moving forward. Always no matter what, just keep going, keep plummeting forward, no matter fucking what. Don't go back. There's nothing back there. Just keep going forward. Always something to do. Methodical, systematic. We seek comforts over risks, but we'll take risks, obviously. And knowing that, we'll take calculated risks. Not known for a love of change. Obviously, there's a consistency in views here. There's fixed values and morals. Definitely. And it's, like I say, consistency in views and always kind of having the same kind of views and morals and mission statements about the same thing. That I'm like that in business. I'm like that in life. I have the same morals and core values that I like to keep the same all the time, you know. Like I say, I'm not here to make money. I'm not here for your subscriptions. I'm not here for your, what do you call it? The join thing where you pay the money for the coffee. I'm not here for that shit. I'm here we're just chatting. All this said, I tarot daily. Do I tarot daily? Yes, I do. Am I going to a medium really soon? Yes, I am going to a medium soon because I believe in that stuff. When someone's got like acquired and proven knowledge of someone like that, I will go and see someone like that, and I will seek out someone like that, and they're paid what they're worth because I've seen what happens. Be on the lookout, I'm going to tell you. If you want to see something scary, and we're going back to scary things now, because a lot of people think that mediums are scary, and mediums, like, because they communicate with the other side, and they communicate with people that have passed on and passed over, freak them out. And why? Why are you scared of that? I don't know. And to me, it doesn't freak me out. To me, I'm trying to talk to my dad, really. That's who I'm trying to get through to. So we'll see. I mean, the weirdest thing is, like, I was talking about letting go of ashes the other day to somebody, and I was saying that I let go of my dad, and they were saying they let go of their dad at Disney World. And that's one of the rules of Disney World. They're like, you're like strictly prohibited. If you get caught like putting ashes down there, you get like arrested. And so I was like, whoa. I was like, but that's where he wanted to be. So she made it happen. So whatever. But like, I mean, if you like Disney World, there are creepy places to go on Disney World. The Tower of Terror, because it blows your fucking head off. Like you go through, and I talked about the Tower of Terror before on podcasts and stuff. Like, I don't know about my own, but other people's I have. And you just go through a tunnel of like the Twilight Zone, and you see these people like in a ghost hallway, and there's electricity beaming everywhere, and there's like all kinds of craziness and shocking, and there's you see ghost people, and then they drop your fucking ass out a window, and you just go screaming up and down for a while on a bungee cord. Not fun. I had vertigo for like 4 days. And then the Haunted Mansion is fun. I like the Haunted Mansion. I like, because there's like fun ghosts on that. I like the Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are like rides that I enjoy. Like I got stuck on Peter Pan once. That wasn't fucking fun. That was no jokes. That was not jokes. Hopefully we're going to Disney World soon. Hopefully we're heading down to Florida when there's not anything like crazy going down there. It's been bad storms going down there, so I feel bad for Florida right now. Not good. Not good. Not good. Not good. Not good. Not good. Like I can say, be on the lookout. Like I can tell you, for episodes after November or October and November, like there are not more creepy things. In November, I got more bearded stuff coming up. I got some bands and guests coming on, but you're gonna, because talking about guests and having degrees of separation, I'm gonna talk about a tour and a bass tour through EMAX Studios and like recording Spit. I'm gonna talk about what it was like to record Spit and how much fun it was. I'm gonna get back to all about that bass, about that bass, about that bass. No treble. We're gonna talk about it like an episode all about bass, because what do I know about a lot? Bass and modifying basses. And so if you're a bass gearhead, you'll want to tune in for that episode and be looking out for that. There'll be, and I like to say, bringing on guests, best beards, some of the best beards I've ever seen. Also some of the best music I've ever heard. So be on the lookout for all the creepiness in the month of October, because be on the lookout for the spirits and the ghosts and the goblins and all the different things. We're going to be talking about some weird shit in the month of October. We're not going to go on like another crazy tour this time. There may be like an old jail or something that we go to and see if there's any spirits there. We might go on a walk. I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to be in trouble. I may take you somewhere alive though, crazy for Halloween. I always take you somewhere fucking crazy for Halloween. If you know, you know. I'm a slave to the gram. You know where to get me at all times. You know where to get me at Instagram. You can get me at 21st Century Rocker Mom if you want to see me on Instagram. And TikTok at the same, 21st Century Rocker Mom. And YouTube, you can see me at YouTube at Tanny Candler Channel. Tanny Candler Channel is going to get you all the YouTube fun stuff you need, me doing weird stuff. Have fun with that. And you can get at Tanny Candler if you want to see me on Twitter. I'm always hanging out with you here every week, streaming wherever you stream. I will catch you guys later on the flip flop. You guys got to check out like Big Bad Santa on Instagram. You're going to have fun on his Instagram. It's like a strongman competition meets the North Pole meets bearded content. It's just something you got to check out this week. I got lots more bearded stuff coming down the pipe for you. More collaborations coming for you. The collaborations people know who you are. You know exactly who you are. And so we're going to drop that soon. We're going to drop some Christmas and holiday collaborations on your heads really soon. I got really exciting stuff coming down the pipe very soon. And I will talk to you when I'm feeling 100% better. Hopefully this week, thwarts a lot of rest and just put my feet up and hopefully the same for you. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving and be good to each other every day. I love you. I'll see you next week unless I fall over, which I hope that I don't. But I hope I hope that some of you don't think I will either. Okay, I love you. I'm out. See you on the flip flop. T-Crest out.